panel who will tackle learning in a hybrid world are ready to enlighten us and answer your questions. So let's say hello to Mr. Ankush Bansal. He is the Sales Engineering Lead for ASEAN at Nokia Enterprise. He is responsible for driving the business strategy and commercialization of Nokia's enterprise portfolio in the region. Welcome, Ankush.
Good afternoon. Happy to be here.
We also have with us Mr. Patrick Loh. He is the global government industry expert of Huawei. With over 18 years of ICT experience, he has established himself as a thought leader in the domain of data center and cloud computing technologies. Hello, Patrick.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
And finally, completing our panelists, we have Mr. Dick Perez, Assistant Vice President and Corporate Relationship Management Head for Academe and FMCG at PLDT Enterprise. Good afternoon, Sir Dick. All right,
yes,
let me just quickly collate your questions here. This one from the floor directed to Ankush at Nokia. How are COVID-19 and Industry 4.0 accelerating the transformation of education?
Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. So I believe the current education system which we have, it was not designed keeping the modern technology in the mind. As COVID-19 pandemic continues across the globe, I think most of the schools have been closed for a very long period of time. And so one of the biggest challenge remains around ensuring continuity of education and supporting our children with their academic and extracurricular activities. So in this context, online or hybrid education has emerged as a new reality. And digitalization of education ecosystem has become an utmost priority for every shareholder of education. On the other hand, for Industry 4.0 era, it demands new cross-functional roles, which has a very specific skill set and a knowledge that spans across IT and OT domains. And our educational institutions plays a very important role in developing such workforce. Many governments, agencies across the world are now deploying strategies to bring digital skills in their education system. And so educational institutions, academicians are now really scanning around and trying to identify the needs of the industry so that they can upgrade and refine their course curriculum to be able to develop that workforce which is relevant to the evolved industry. Now, this is a constant and ever-evolving process, which requires a very close collaboration between industrial experts, academicians, and the researchers. And this is where digitalization is playing another key enablement, a role of a key enabler, where having everybody in this value chain physically available in one physical classroom is not possible. It is an outdated concept now. So you need to have online collaboration tools. You need to have a good connectivity. Now, we are really witnessing, therefore, a huge momentum. Every school, college, university is now in the process of evolving their communication infrastructure to be able to offer high performance, highly reliable services where students, academicians, researchers, and industrial experts can collaborate and function more productively. So I believe there is really a big transformation happening everywhere.
And just jumping off of the points that you mentioned, Patrick, I think this is a very related question. What are the key requirements for the delivery of a good hybrid classroom experience? We were talking in the previous panel, this is it. That's how it's going to be for quite a while, right? So what are you requiring here?
Thank you for the question. So I think I would like to just kind of start off by saying that, for us to really have a good hybrid teaching environment itself, we have to move away from, what has been done traditionally. The teaching mode used to be teacher-centered, right? You have the teacher in the middle of everything, and then they will just kind of be speaking. On the situation now where we have COVID and hybrid teaching coming into play, I think this is getting even worse because, in the Zoom class, when you are teaching, you have really no idea what is basically the student doing, right? So I think from my perspective here is that we have to really flip this around in the sense that the students will now be the center for us to basically deliver this training. So to actually do that properly, we have looked at it from the students' perspective, 3 key areas. Number one is basically what they see, all right? So I think the traditional way for us to basically deliver on a computer screen is too limited. So we are going into things like smart boards, which have more functionality, more capability, clearer picture as a focal point for us to do what the students can see. Also, what they can hear, right? So the the audio has to be good as well. So things like the smart board, new equipments like ceiling microphones will help to deliver this in good quality. And finally, you need to have a good recording system to be able to kind of like capture the actual the teaching process, right? So for that itself, basically the recording will help the student review when they want to basically, revisit the lesson. They can just go on to the internet on demand, playback those videos. So this whole thing, the whole building block itself requires a good network, right? As you can see, that if a student is in a hybrid environment, right, they will basically need the network to be stable to have this good experience. So that is one aspect. The second aspect may come from the school perspective. So from a school perspective, teaching no longer just restricted to that 1 hour of a lesson. I think there has to be ability for us to develop the entire cycle from before class, the content delivery where students can actually start to review course material, to the in-class session where basically it will be centered onto the different type of experience, all right, how to make things safe. I think we mentioned about security, all right, and then after class, all right, how do you basically manage the class experience, like collecting data, making improvement based on the data that you have collected to improve the next class functioning. So maybe going into the area of personalized teaching. And finally, I think at the end of this whole sessions, I think what I want to mention here is that we have basically doing a lot of classroom. I think Huawei has built a very good solution on the cloud, right? So if you look at what is available on the cloud for a digital classroom or smart classroom perspective, there are a lot of AI-powered technology, including ability to mark attendance by facial recognition, ability to do things like monitoring the students' attention span. All right, so we've moved the focus away from the teacher to what is happening in the classroom, what is happening to every student. So I think that will deliver a good hybrid learning environment for all students.
Very interesting. Let's see how that gets deployed, in the near future. You do your attendance check with a cell phone and face recognition.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Sir Dick, you have a question here, very specific as well, but for the Philippine case. The private schools in the Philippines are experiencing enrollment decline and financial challenges. How can technology and PLDT help them?
Yeah, thank you, Danny. That's actually a very relevant question. The schools has not recovered yet from the decline in enrollment last 2020. Such decline took a heavy toll on the financials of the school. The dilemma is that schools must continue to innovate to keep up with the competition and attract enrollees. So how can schools innovate despite having limited funds? Investing on technology before and even now, it requires huge upfront capital expenditure. In PLDT, we realized that, and we empathize with the school administrators. Our collaboration with school owners, administrators, and various institutional organizations made us realize the willingness of the schools to continue innovating, albeit on a limited budget. Hence, we have introduced end-to-end and complete solutions tailored fit for the education industry, which is on an OPEX arrangement, meaning no capital investment is required. Schools will just need to subscribe to the service to use it. We have solutions like software as a service, contact center as a service, cybersecurity as a service, and these are available at a subscription model. These solutions can be accessed whether the users are in the campus or offices or at home. Now, the beauty of these solutions is that they are scalable, meaning the schools can initially start small and scale up as the need arises. We also have introduced Managed IT, which addresses monitoring and troubleshooting concerns of the schools to address or augment existing IT personnel due to limited mobility during lockdowns.
Okay.
All these are available without incurring huge upfront expenses. Thank you, and I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yes, I think you were very clearly able to answer the question. The point being, there are solutions available. They are, inexpensive, or at least they are affordable, economical in these difficult times. Ankush, related to that, I have a nice question here. Would you like to talk about any of your public references or collaborations in the field of education for Nokia, of course, and the impact on community when you talk about community?
Definitely. So Nokia, for long with its innovative solution, has been facilitating and powering up research, innovation, as well as collaboration across the globe, including the economic growth activities. So one of the recent example I would like to quote is coming from Kenya, where we are working with a consortium which has likes of UNICEF, a local service provider called Safaricom, and a Kenyan Ministry of Education and ICT to provide internet connectivity to almost 80 schools, which are spread across rural and urban settlements all over Kenya. And an estimated 32,000 students are served with this network. Now, this network is also serving the digitalization and digital literacy goals of the Kenyan government. We are offering our fixed band, a solution called Fast Mile, which is a fixed broadband wireless access solution. And it is used to provide connectivity to all those, our high-speed reliable connectivity, which is delivered over 4G network of Safaricom. And then matched Wi-Fi beacon solution to provide stable internet connections in the indoor environment like classroom and computer labs. Another example is the recent partnership which we have with the University of Technology in Sydney, where we are setting up a 5G, state-of-the-art 5G innovation facility, which would be used to test and develop, exciting new 5G use cases with real-life applicability like IoT, smart cities, Industry 4.0. And these platforms will also serve as an environment for, new research and innovation for a local ICT sector. There are many more examples which we keep on, developing every week. One of the recent one is coming from Norway, where we are, working with a Norway Education and Research Network called Uninet, which is a non-commercial network which, provides a platform for collaboration and knowledge sharing across various universities and research organizations. So we are building up a high-speed optical infrastructure for this network in the northern Norway. And there are many more, which, as I said, we keep on adding every week.
Great, but from Kenya to Sydney to Norway, a lot of communities there for you to reach out to. And just time for one last question for Patrick. How do we optimize the learning outcomes? You already spoke about, what Huawei is doing in terms of hybrid teaching, but how do you optimize learning?
Okay, so thank you for the question again. I think to optimize basically hybrid teaching itself, I guess, you need to really have thought around the entire delivery equipment side of things, right? So I think for our perspective itself, our reference architecture for smart classroom includes a digital whiteboard, or we call this the smart board, where you can basically use it to deliver the course content in good quality. All right. Then you need to basically have ability for us to basically able to allow the students to be the focal. So in the presentation mode itself, in the hybrid teaching, it's no longer the teacher occupying the main screen. All right, we will have a mix of teacher as well as students on the main screen, so everybody knows what is happening, and that will enable things like if you want to do a workshop type of session rather than a lecture, right? You will be able to switch and share content by the different groups in the classroom. So this whole solutioning itself, I think, calls for a lot of coordination in terms of what are the equipments you use in the classroom, what do you use in the students' premises, all right, and all this type of solution itself could go down to very simple stuff like a smart board that just need a power plug. You can run them to experience something like this, all right, with a good video, with good visual. And there's another thing here that we are also very concerned here in Singapore is that when the COVID hit, we can deliver this type of classroom, but there is one big challenge is basically when we talk about delivering examination, right? So how do you basically do a portering session? So we have come out with an AI portering capability where we will have anti-cheat algorithm in there to prevent students from cheating in the examination, right? So things like the lockdown browser, the facial recognition technology will come into play to help us to do this, and all this will come with a eventual reporting system where you can pull out basically critical statistics and information that you need to basically manage the class. I think I'm going to be able to go on and on for a very long time, but I think these are the essence. I will just basically keep it at the essence.
Thank you so much for those insights, and of course, very clear examples there. How do you prevent cheating in an online setting? That's a very, very touchy issue, one that I believe has not yet been solved. But thank you, gentlemen. A lot more to be discussed, especially on that topic.